Hello. So now that we're all here, before we get started, I'll just confirm that we are recording this Ask an Elder session, both for internal and external use, and I'll also send you that recording if you'd like to update any of those permissions. Is that correct?
Correct.
Great. Enjoy your session.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. Perhaps I'll just introduce us. Elder Redbird, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, I think we met before, didn't we?
We did. We met last
Yes.
year. We went to the Wandering Spirit School.
Exactly. Wow. Oh, it's nice to see you again, and I love your earrings. They
Oh, thank you.
look very, very pretty. Yeah. So,
Thank you. They're made by a local artist in Toronto. So
yeah. Good. Well, how have things been going since the last time I saw you? That's been a couple of years now, isn't it? Almost.
Just last summer. We saw each other last summer, but I know it can feel that way. And so now we come to you as a committee, Indigenous UFCW Canada Sub-Committee. And so we were wondering if we could introduce each other to you.
Absolutely, please do. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just be quick. Emmanuel Lopez, UFCW Canada, Human Rights Department. The honor of being part of this Indigenous Subcommittee since its founding year in 2016.
Okay.
Gloria?
So,
I'm Gloria. I'm from Bancroft, Ontario, from the
Bancroft?
Neighbor. Yep.
You're
Bancroft.
from Bancroft. No kidding.
I am born and raised.
I know it well. I have a property up at Madawaska.
Oh, no, I'm actually only about a 5-minute drive from Madawaska in my home right now.
Well,
So that's really funny.
No kidding. We're along
I live
60 highway.
in, yeah, I live just outside of Maynooth, but I work in Bancroft. So we always.
I love Maynooth. How did the summer go up there?
We have a brand new road and a brand new butter tart maker.
Well, I love butter tart, so that's wonderful. Okay,
Yeah.
so welcome. And who else do we have? So.
Hi, I'm Danza. I'm Angela Fiddler. I'm from Treaty 6 Territory, Waterhen Lake First Nation, which is in northern Saskatchewan. But I work in Alberta and part of the union for 10 years now.
Oh,
and so I made my way up the chain, and I do a lot of different things for the union. I'm really proud to be a part of as a First Nation person, being an activist for our rights, and then making the union a part of it, and for the union to support us for our Indigenous rights. And thank you for taking the time out to speak to us.
Well, I know your territory a little bit. I was at Frog Lake and Duck Lake and Red Pheasant and all around Saskatchewan, and good friends with Winston Watney. I don't know, you probably, he's a singer and songwriter from Red Pheasant. And so it's a beautiful country out there too. Yeah, I'm glad to have you aboard.
Yes, I'm actually staying in Mosquito First Nation right now, which is just across the road from Red Pheasant. My grandma is from Red Pheasant.
Ah,
yeah.
So you would know the Watney family. They're quite well known there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow my grandma's related to the Watneys, so I'm related to them down the line. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Welcome aboard here today. So that's 3. We have one more person to say hello to.
Hi, I'm Raven Morningstar. I'm originally from Thunder Bay, Ontario, but living up in Whitehorse, Yukon. I'm a member of UFCW 1518. I work here at a Save on Food store. I'm on the executive board for the union, shop steward in our store, and also health and safety just took on. So quite busy.
Yeah. Are you still in Whitehorse?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
This is home.
Such a beautiful place. I named my oldest daughter Nahani because
nice.
when I was up there and I just fell in love with the Nahani River, and
Yes.
so it was a beautiful, such beautiful scenery and people and everything, and so I enjoyed my time in Whitehorse. But that was many years ago. But nevertheless, you're blessed to live in such a beautiful country up that way.
Well, thank you, and thank you for taking time out today to meet with us. And I just joined the subcommittee not very long ago, so this is new for me.
Okay.
And I'm just glad to.
We lost. You froze on me.
Connection issues, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a long connection all the way from Whitehorse.
Yes, yes. Shane, did you want to go?
Okay, so.
Shane, did you want to speak? Introduce yourself?
Are we okay with the sound and everything?
I think so. Shane, can you hear us? Can you hear us? I guess. Shane?
Oh. I don't think it's on.
Okay. And Shane?
It looks like they're having trouble with their audio. I put the call-in numbers in the chat. If you want to just call in your audio, that might be the best option, but maybe go ahead with the other introductions or questions in the meantime.
Okay. Zenny, did you want to introduce yourself?
Workspace.
Hi everyone, my name is Zenny and I'm also a staff member at UFCW and providing support for Indigenous youth. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you're welcome. There's it sounds like a radio or a television on in the background.
That's my husband working and my daughter keeping her occupied.
Oh, I see.
It's very loud in here.
Well, anyway,
but I can hear you very well.
Where are you calling from?
I'm in Toronto.
In Toronto. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, it makes sense that they would be louder since you're so close.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we can get started with. I guess there must be some questions you want to ask an elder.
We were talking collectively at Elder Redbird when you and I met last year in preparation for our conference that took place. You provided a teaching. You explained to me, you said, United Food and Commercial Workers Canada is the food workers union, and you're going by the 7 grandfather teachings, which is cool, but you really should be learning about the food chain and the food chain teachings that parallel the 7 grandfathers. And if you don't have it accessible at this time, no problem, but it just left quite an imprint on me that day. And so I was wondering if you would share a little bit about your perspective on that.
how the food chain introduced the 7 grandfather teachings to us from the forest, from the food forest. Yeah, it in this in the eastern woodlands, of course, we were they called us hunters and gatherers, and we certainly were. But most of our protein came not from hunting. Hunting animals was really provided us more with clothing and tools, and some utensils from. But as far as the calories, you almost use more calories up trapping or hunting an animal than was available in the animal when you cooked them. So most of our food source had to come from the food forest, and there was what they call the Carolinian forest was here in southern Ontario, a beautiful forest of just it was like a supermarket of food available, and the older trees, that was what we call the first canopy of the old trees that grew high. They protected the other plants with a canopy of protection. And those trees, like the walnut tree, the beechnut tree, the maple trees, the oak trees, they provided a source of food that we associate with wisdom. And it's and considering that the Indigenous people didn't have the same kind of science as available in modern medicine, the fact is that walnuts and maple syrup are extremely good for cognitive capacity, the cognitive capacity of the brain. Of course, we understood it because when you broke a walnut open, it looked like a little brain. So it made sense that if you ate it, it was going to be good for your cognitive capacity. And from there, we understood that these old trees represented wisdom to us. And then there was another canopy of trees that were fragile in many ways, and they nevertheless were able to sustain themselves and through hurricanes and windstorms and droughts and all kinds of weather conditions, harsh winters, and yet they always gave their fruit. They were the fruit trees, the plum trees, the apple trees, the cherry trees, the pear trees, these incredible trees that were just abundant with fruit. And the fact that they were fragile gave us a sense of the meaning of courage. And so we had wisdom and courage, and then underneath those beautiful fruit trees were all the berry bushes. And there was raspberries and blueberries and thimbleberries and bearberries. They were all different colors, different tastes, different textures, and they self-propagated, and they lived next to each other and everything. And when in our by observing that these plants did not interfere with each other, that they showed respect to one another, and we learned respect from these plants that were, notwithstanding the fact that they were different sizes, different shapes, different tastes, different textures, different colors, nevertheless respect was there. And then under the berry bushes, there was all kinds of food that was available that was right there in a growing above the ground. and we noted that rabbits and other animals were flourishing by eating that food and so on, and we saw that there was an honesty to these foods, and we learned about honesty by being transparent, by being upfront, by not having a filter in relation to the community and the world that we engaged in. So we learned about honesty, and then when we looked for our medicines, we had to get down really on the very carpet of the earth, and there we sorted out. We found all our medicines, and we had to sort them between the good ivies and the poison ivies, and the good oaks from the poison oaks, and the good mushrooms from the toadstools, and in that we had to build critical thinking, and from there we learned about how to recognize truth when we saw it, and it was from those medicines that we healed and nourished ourselves, and then all the roots and good tubers that live under the ground. I mean, you had to get on your knees and dig them out with your hands, and you learn humility from that kind of work. And when we saw in the forest the vines and the ferns that move through the forest embrace the other plants, well, we recognize that as an iteration of love. So those are the 7 what we call the grandfather teachings, and they came from the food forest, and we taught our children how to have those characteristics that would carry you through life, that we could point to nature and show how nature in her ultimate omnipotent wisdom created a world in the blink of an eye that was delivered to us as human beings, and all the food and sustenance and abundance that we needed to live a good life was all there, and all the lessons needed to carry us forward were all there as well. So that's Indigenous traditional knowledge.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're just about out of time. If you'd like to say.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you so much. I would pass it on to my colleagues because that's important. Anyone have something to say?
Well, because I knew you were coming, I just want to share just so that these are just some of the foods that were cultivated by the indigenous people before settlers came here. Sunflowers, zucchini, vanilla, avocados, pineapples, cashews, blueberries, beans, popcorn, herb gardens, peppers, corn syrup, potato chips, freeze drying, instant foods were all developed and used before settlement, before the settlers got here, including peanuts, maple syrup, pumpkins, tomatoes, chocolate. About 70% of the food that we consume in the Americas today was cultivated before contact with the Europeans. The only food that the Europeans brought over here with them was oats, barley, and wheat. And what they did was they immediately cut down the food forest and started to plow the land to plant wheat. Can you imagine? They got rid of all the beautiful food in the food forest and just to grow wheat and barley and oats, because they didn't listen or get their education from the indigenous people who had lived on this continent for thousands of years. It just seems such a shame. So, but maybe we can address that. And you're working in the food industry and you do good work, and without the food industry, there is no industry and there is no people. So keep up the good work. You're first responders in every way to keep people well fed. So megwetch for the work you do.
Miigwech Elder Redbird, you have filled my heart with your teachings. Anyone want to close on our behalf, please?
I just wanted to say thank you for your wisdom and your knowledge and passing it on to us. It was really special. And I haven't heard it that way before. So I thank you.
Megwetch.
Just Miigwech, Dr. Redbird, and thank you for the knowledge that you shared with me and with us as a group. And yeah, I learned a lot. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Truly, it was heart-filling, as Emma said. And if we can ever honor you by buying you a butter tart, I will hope to bump into you in Maynooth sometime.
Absolutely, Megwetch. Thank you. Look forward to it. I love the market in Maynooth, by the way. That was my favorite place to go every weekend when I lived up there. My daughter still lives in Madawaska on my property there. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, everyone. You just need to leave the meeting in the bottom right-hand corner.
Thank you. Goodbye, all.
Goodbye, Miigwech. Thank you.